Happy Thursday, everybody. Tell the Truth Thursday / Confession Day. I am your host, Pastor KZ, with the All About Favorite channel. Please don't forget, comment, like, and share. Hit the thumbs up button at the end of the video. Go back and look at my Monday's video. I have a contest going, and I have some prizes of some coffee mugs for you. So go back and watch Monday's show. It's all about Pastor KZ's birthday and certain things she liked. Trying to help you get to know me a little better. And in yesterday's video, I named 3-4 people that you are not to call to try to get the information because they are exempt from participating in the contest. All this week, it's been Real Talk Week, and I've been talking about topics that you, the viewers, have indicated that you wanted me to talk about. I have touched on some very touchy situations, and I would dedicate a full week to some of these topics because they keep coming up over and over in the email. Now, this show is going to bless you, meaning that it will be beneficial to you. And if it doesn't hit you, please share it with somebody that you know the information and the content will help. Also, the eyewear that I wear, as I stated on Monday, these are all pieces that have made the eyewear line. My attire all the week is Nike. I'm shouting Nike out all this week. And I will say this in full disclosure, a lot of the brands, when you hear me shout them out, I am a sponsor in partnership with them. So it's all about Nike this week. I'll do other brands as the weeks go on. As promised, in 2 weeks, the sports wrap will return. Y'all don't have to email me about when I'm going to do it. It will return. That was one of my most popular shows. And this is the most popular show. The Tell the Truth Thursday episodes and the sports wrap was number 2. So YouTube analytics always tells us which shows are the ones that's most popular and the ones, as y'all will say, on and popping. And on Thursday's episode, when I read the emails, it has indicated that y'all like hearing the emails and y'all love the sports wrap. So thank you for your support. Today's show, I'm going to do a continuation from last week's show, Generational Dysfunction. And last week, when I talked about family dysfunction, one element that I did not cover enough, I think I may have scratched the surface, was telling the truth. Now, sometimes the truth can be damaging. Sometimes the truth can be hurtful. Sometimes the truth can be harmful. But one thing I know for sure is sometimes the truth can bring you peace. Sometimes the truth is freeing. Now let me give you a disclaimer, as I do with each video. I am not in any way a guru or an expert in these topics. I am just giving you my thoughts and my opinions based on the things that you want me to talk about. Now, so I'm not offering any professional services here. I'm just giving you some opinion. Even though I do have expertise in some issues, that is not what the show is about. Now, let me again remind you that you have a lot of things you want to talk about and a lot of things you share with me in the emails that's going on with you. I strongly encourage you to journal. Journal. Write these things down. And some of you, thank you again. I want to say, for those of you who have been supporting me, those of you who went on Amazon and you've purchased some of my mini books. I have many books on there, as in MINI. So I got little workbooks there. I got some journals there. And thank you all so much for your support. Now, I believe that a person must be willing to accept and embrace the truth, be it good or bad. You know, some people say they want to hear the truth, but they really don't because they're not ready to accept what the truth is. But I believe at some point in your life, you've got to be willing, you got to be ready, and you got to be able to accept the truth, whether it's good truth or a bad truth. Now, lies and secrets can destroy a person. But when the chain or the cycle of the lies, the secrets, and the cover-ups are told or exposed, it just might give somebody peace. I'm not telling you what I heard now, y'all. I'm telling you something I've experienced. But this gonna bless you, as I said. I know a lot of times, and I said this on last week, in generational dysfunction or generational curses or family dysfunction, it's a lot of secrets. And there are a lot of lies being told and a lot of cover-ups going on. A lot of things are hidden, kept swept under the rug. A lot of things are what goes on in this house stays in this house, and that goes on from generation to generation. And know what that does? That keeps the sickness going. That keeps anything some people do to keep the secret going, keep the lie going, keep the cover up going. Do you not realize that whomever the lies or the secrets involve, you are hurting someone? You're not helping sometimes keeping the secret. I know some of you think, well, if this particular secret ever gets out, it's going to destroy the family. God only knows what's going to happen. But is it really helping some of the people involved? I want you to take a listen to this. And like I said, once the lie, the secret, and the cover-up comes out, sometimes it gives somebody peace. You ever met people who want to tell the truth on their deathbed? I heard a quote. It goes something kind of like this. The most times a person is honest is when they're laying at the point of death. Y'all ever heard that? Let's listen to this email. Hi, Pastor KZ. I'm a 49-year-old white male. I am one of your new subscribers. I was raised between my mother, stepdad, and my father and stepmom. Needless to say, my parents are divorced, and they were divorced when I was 14. I gotta share and confess this to you and tell the truth about it. At my 13th birthday party, my mom caught my dad kissing the neighbor, who is now the stepmom. You hear how he's writing this? Who is now the stepmom. See how he said that? Sometimes, y'all, when you write things, your words tells the story. That's why I encourage you to journal, because when you read back what you write, it tells a story of how you really feel about that person or that situation. I hated both my parents for a long time. That was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life. My 13th birthday party turned into nothing but a war zone filled with slaps, screaming, cursing, and I'm just getting anxious, Pastor KZ, just typing this and telling you about this. Let's pause for a moment. Remember, this is a 49-year-old man. 49. And he's talking about something that happened when he was 13 years old. You see how that stays fresh in a person's mind? Years can go by, but certain situations or incidents, it stays fresh. And he's talking about this just like it happened yesterday. And he's getting anxious just typing this email, he says. Let's continue. Life with my mother was never the same. She became cold, angry, and a bitter, broken woman. She changed from this loving, nurturing mother that I knew into this hard as nails, critical, mean person. I couldn't do anything right. She started drinking heavily, and one night, I guess I was now about 16. But let me say this, Pastor KZ, I had learned to get involved in extracurricular activities at school just so I didn't have to come home or go over to my dad's and spend the weekend over there. But I will never forget this one particular night. My mom was crying so hard that it scared me and it shook me. I jumped up and I ran in the room, and at that moment, I believe was when her breakdown happened. And she began to say, as she was just talking out loud, how your father was a loving man. How did he do this to me? She said, I loved him with everything I had. Your father was my first love. I gave up my career. I would have been a great interior decorator, but I gave up my career to help your father build his dream business. And she said, son, he blindsided me. He broke me just like my father broke my mother. When I had my 13th birthday party, my mother and father announced to me that this would be the last party they would have together. Hold on, pause it. A situation happened to her, his mother, when she was 13. Her parents broke up. And here the cycle continues. On her sons, this 49-year-old man who wrote this email had the same experience. He never knew that that had happened to his mother. And she had been carrying this all this time. And I am sure, this is Pastor KZ talking now. I am sure on that day when she caught her husband with that other woman, I am sure she had a flashback of her 13th birthday party. And I guarantee you, leading up to her son's 13th birthday party, she thought about her 13th birthday party. See how the generational dysfunction continues? He says here, let me finish. He said, Pastor Casey, I have never forgotten this. And I am a 49-year-old man. Now I understand what you mean when you say it's passed down. When you said on the other show that our mothers might be like our grandmothers, you hit the nail on the head. Bring you up to speed. My mom no longer drinks, and even though she remarried, I know that she is still a broken woman. She just does not have that twinkle and that spark in her eye. But let me tell you about me. I don't have a relationship with my father at all. Once the stepmom gave him a few sons, he no longer had need to come see me on his visitations. So I have been out of my father's life since I was about 16 years old. Pastor KZ, I did order your journal and I've started it. And I will be starting counseling soon. I found a therapist I'm going to go to. I think I'm messed up at 49. I never thought about it this way until I began watching you. And actually, someone shared your video with me from work. And I've been watching you ever since. And I didn't mention this, but I'm single at age 49. I never want to get married, and I never want to have children. Why? Because after my 13th birthday, I just rather not ever experience what love is, because all I know is love almost destroyed my mom. Y'all, we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. I just wanted to share this email with you. Sometime when I share these emails, and sometimes I'll print them out or write them out, I really don't get the gist of it until I actually start reading them out loud during the taping of the show. And that's when it started affecting me, and I have to process this. We'll talk more about this tomorrow, y'all. See how secrets and lies hurt. Generational dysfunction is real. I did not commit a whole lot of time to it, but I can do probably a whole month worth of shows. And it's a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of reading material about generational dysfunction, generational curses. And y'all, for everybody, it's different. Here's a 49-year-old man. He's hurt. He experienced something at age 13 and he just has not gotten over it. His mother experienced the same thing, of which this man never knew. Y'all, sometimes our parents have experienced things that they've never spoken about. I remember in particular, my mother, before she passed away, I don't know, I think we were having a discussion, and in a moment I saw her whole demeanor change, because I think the topic just gotten to her. Now remember, during this time, it's taboo for people of color to go and get therapy, back then when they've suffered this. And remember, my mother and my aunts and uncles were born in the 40s. the 40s, and I think my younger aunt was born in the 50s. But back then it was taboo for them to get therapy, and it wasn't a such thing as support groups and things. And when we were having a conversation during this exchange, I watched her whole, just, she turned into somebody else. And when I looked at that time, I looked in her eye, I saw pain, I saw brokenness, I saw hurt of a whole nother level. And when she spoke those words to me, she said, you know what? One day I pray that you never in life have to experience what it feels like for a man to break you. That's what she said to me. She said, because, baby, I've been broken. I allowed the only two men I ever loved, and both of them broke me in a way that I just never got over. I looked at her face, and it shook me, and it stayed with me. Even to this day, I can still see her face. And I thought about it, and I spoke these words to her, and I think I spoke them to one of my aunts one day. God rest both their souls. And I said, and my aunt, who was like a mother to me, who raised me, helped raise me, she said, this one that you got now, this husband you got, this is the one, baby. This the one that God sent to you. And she said, and this time I see something in you I never saw. And I say, what's that, Mama? And she said, I see love. She said, you have a love for people. You know how to love. But to give your heart in a relationship, you've never done it. And I looked and I said, you think so? She said, I know so. And I said, you're right. And I have to give you a transparent moment about Pastor KZ. I said to her, and I said this, and I said, I thought about that conversation I had with your sister. And when she told me about what it was like being broken. And I say, Mama, that's probably why I've never given 100% of my heart. Because I never wanted to be a broken woman. I never wanted to have that feeling and that facial expression I saw in her eyes. I saw hurt and brokenness in my mother's eyes. And not only her, but growing up in a home with my grandparents and with my aunts and uncles, and I'd see their friends. And when you hear some of these older women talk, women who are now in their 80s and 90s, when you hear the brokenness and some of the pain in their voices, in their faces, that is something I always said. I pray to God I never know what that feels like. So y'all, brokenness is real. Pain is real. Hurt is real. And that's all I'm trying to do, is empower you and give you some tools and to help you be able to move a little bit further along. I'm not going to say move past it, because some things you never get past it. You try to move on and move forward, but you don't forget it. So y'all, get focused, find your balance, and be honest. Journal. Tell the truth. Confess some things that you've never spoken out loud in your journal. Nobody is reading them but you. And when you begin to write and reread this stuff you write, healing can start if you want it to. Y'all be blessed, and I'll see you back tomorrow. It's real talk still, no matter what. See you tomorrow.